The first one is an audio visual, and we haven't, just like we haven't done enough Assange stories lately, we certainly haven't covered enough Caitlin Johnstone. And part of it is because
I
her
like how she
husband,
has Legos in her bag.
well, of course she does, but her husband, Tim, has is incredible on their YouTube channel and reading all of her articles. So I kind of feel bad bringing on an article of hers and reading it. It like it doesn't do them justice. So I kind of have I love it. I share them and I include them in the updates and everything, but I just haven't covered one of her stories in a while. So obviously I think we all recognize what this photo is, and this is, and she's going to explain in a minute, and I'm going to play the YouTube video, but I first want to read the article and then listen to her tell it, because it's kind of heartbreaking in a way, but at the same time it's important for us to keep it alive. And she's talking about the disappearing of Julian Assange in my wallet, specifically this picture. So she says in her wallet, she keeps a folded printout of an image of Julian Assange. Photo was taken on October 27th, 2021. I remember watching that on camera or on YouTube.
Yep.
It's blue, blurry, and velvety soft, a photo of the CCTV feed of the prisoner's dock at the moment he suffered a stroke. This is the last known image of Julian Assange. The disappearing of the image of Julian Assange has been slowly taking place since he entered into the Ecuadorian embassy 13 years ago. Internally, he was the most surveilled person on the planet, but publicly, photos were rare. And then, for the last 3 years, he's been held in a maximum security prison where the taking of images is strictly forbidden. For me, the irony of the last known image of Julian Assange being of his brain mid-explosion is a powerful visual metaphor for how he himself, the idea of Julian Assange, WikiLeaks journalism, a free press, and all he stands for is being surgically wiped from the public's consciousness in a deliberate inducement of global aphasia. This is censorship via amnesia. This is the psychological disappearing of Julian Assange. And this is why I carry this photo in my wallet, because I refuse to forget. That's the video, and I have it queued up. So let me just switch real quick and turn off. Let's go to the thumbnail for a second. I'll turn off the slideshow. Click in here, escape out, go here. Bip.
Click Control Tab to change tabs, by the way.
Thank you.
I think. You're welcome.
All right, let's
I set
go
it
back.
as a button on one of my...
Here we go. Hey, perfect.
Mouses.
Okay.
Mice.
Mice.
In my wallet, I keep a folded printout of an image of Julian Assange. The photo was taken on October 27th, 2021.
That's okay.
It is blue, blurry, velvety soft, and it's a photo of the CCTV feed of the prisoner's dock at the moment he suffered a stroke. This is the last known image of Julian Assange.
Is that Caitlin's actual voice?
The disappearing of the image of Julian Assange has been slowly taking place since he entered the Ecuadorian embassy 13 years ago. Internally, he was one of the most surveilled people on the planet, but publicly, photos were rare. And then, for the last 3 years, he has been held in a maximum security prison where the taking of images is strictly forbidden. For me, the irony of the last known image of Julian Assange being of his brain mid-explosion is a powerful visual metaphor for how he himself, the idea of Julian Assange, of WikiLeaks, of journalism, of the free press, of everything he stands for, is being surgically wiped from the public's consciousness in a deliberate inducement of global aphasia. This is censorship via amnesia. This is a psychological disappearing of Julian Assange. And this is why I carry this photo in my wallet, because I refuse to forget.
Yep.
She gets me all
good stuff though. She is a good painter.
She's a good everything. She's a good everything.
And we need to hear that voice more, Caitlin. It's good shit.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
She does.
I saw her doing Daniel Ellsberg as well.
Yeah, she wrote a poem called "The Wizard," and we played it one night on Action for Assange, and she breaks me. Like,
Nice.
listen, that's also, she reads the poem in on her YouTube, and it's really, wow, she's something. I love that woman. Indie Media Award honoree. Oh, and yeah,
Something else.
Indie Media Award honoree. One of these days, Caitlin will actually get an address to mail your award to, but she's on the website indiemediaawards.com. You can check that out. Here, there's the little Indie Media Awards thing. What was that? I don't know.
Just the Indie Media Award sound effect. You didn't know?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Every what?
Oh, I guess now we have one of those.
Or you could.
Yes,
we could go like, yay.
Yes, have some. That's weird. I'm trying to make your BOX a little bigger, but it's not working. Anyway, so, hey, wait a minute. I got to go back to slideshow. Hey, now it's going to fit right. Okay. So, the other half of the Julian Assange story, now that I've stalled and trying to gather myself again, is interesting from Wyatt Reed, of all people. Wyatt posted an article on his Substack earlier in the week. CIA secretly hunting Assange activists. Bombshell report suggests, like, wait a minute, what? I thought we already kind of knew this, but he's saying from late night break-ins and wiretaps to political persecutions, death threats, and conspicuous surveillance, almost nothing is off limits, we know, in the push to neutralize Julian's support network. So what new evidence do we have here? Well, activists, lawyers, and journalists we know linked to Julian were being subjected to extensive surveillance and intimidation, an explosive new report has detailed. Wait, there's a new report out? Yeah, there actually is. Individuals have been hacked, tracked, burglarized, threatened with death, thrown in jails for years on dubious charges. And while the identity of the perpetrators has yet to be conclusively proven, victims say it's clear who's behind the campaign of harassment and spying, the CIA. What a shock. In a recent interview with Der Spiegel, hacker and internet neutrality activist Andy Mueller-Magoon, who links the incidents to the CIA's classification of WikiLeaks as hostile in 2017, condemned the tactics as intimidation surveillance by U.S. intelligence agencies and their collaborators abroad, saying, quote, "The point all these years has been to make it abundantly clear we're out to get you." Yeah. I don't really think that this is much of a surprise.
I'm surprised you didn't say Der Spiegel without going like, Spiegel!
Der
like,
Spiegel?
You kind of have to.
Der Spiegel? Yes.
Spiegel.
Kind of have to. Spiegel and Spiegel.
Precious.
Yes. Protect Misty at all costs by all means, Rick. That's what we're here to do. All right. So this guy, Mueller-Magoon, whose phone was reportedly physically tapped with a field programmable gate array carrying U.S.-made chips and which, quote, cannot be detected with a normal frequency locator, unquote, was just one of many apparent victims targeted by the CIA for their association with WikiLeaks, as Trump liked to call it. After the, of course, groundbreaking website was labeled a hostile intelligence agency by then CIA Director Mike Pompeo, who was running for president in 2024, in 2017, those in Assange's orbit reported the unnerving tactics weren't far behind. Yeah, we've heard this before. By declaring WikiLeaks not to be a journalistic outlet, but rather an enemy intelligence service, the CIA gave itself permission to take the gloves off. And a former senior counterintelligence official later told, of course, Yahoo News and Michael Isikoff that, quote, there seem to be no boundaries anymore. Even Julian's own lawyer, Aitor Martinez, acknowledged that it is technically possible that it's simply a coincidence so many of Assange's cohorts began reporting being stalked and harassed by Americans at the same time. But yes, who could actually believe that? It's a vendetta against Julian Assange. For his team, there's no question that Assange, the WikiLeaks organization, and everyone surrounding Julian are being systematically monitored and intimidated, whether supporters, journalists, lawyers, or family members. Martinez himself is reportedly no stranger to the unsavory activities of U.S. intel services. What do you mean? Having served as Julian's legal counsel for the better part of a decade, He also described a series of unsettling events which indicate that he's being monitored and harassed by CIA. What a shock. So, shortly after Pompeo declared WikiLeaks a hostile intelligence agency, Martinez said that his wife was accosted by a stranger in the streets of the Paraguayan capital, Montevideo, if I remember correctly, who grabbed her by the arm and whispered to her in English, "Watch your cell phone." Immediately afterwards, 230 screenshots of photos, private emails, and text messages suddenly appeared on her cell phone, apparently sent from Martinez's phone, which he said he hadn't touched. Oh, then when we left in a hurry, a man with a plug in his ear followed us at the airport, waving a friendly goodbye, he added.
Goodbye.
Oh, bye. Have a good time. Isn't that what your closer?
Great time.
Yeah, thank you. His harassers.
Bye, have a great time.
Yeah, his harassers didn't stop there, however. Martinez said that they've since been broken into both his office and his apartment in Madrid. Notice how I'm going with the Castilian accent there.
Madrid, so, very good.
Madrid.
Yeah, dude. Madrid.
So he reportedly had surveillance footage showing 3 masked men enter his place of work in the dead of night in December 2017. According to the footage, the burglars spent 6 minutes searching for something they're apparently unable to find before stealing a leg of ham from the kitchen. Okay. Quote, I've handled many delicate cases in my life. I've been threatened, sometimes even by police, but I've never experienced this level of intimidation, he said. He said that the perpetrators appear to be acting at the direction of the CIA, shows why it's so worrisome that Assange could be extradited to the U.S., of course, which repeatedly has insisted that the jail WikiLeaks founder will receive a fair trial, and we all know that that's never going to happen. So this is the end of the Wyatt Reed article, and I messaged Wyatt because I happen to have a DM access to him. And by the way, I think they're even open if you follow each other and you mute him. I'm going to cover the story. I think it's important on Sunday night. Is there anything else that you can add? So he says, actually, yeah, I got the article. The Der Spiegel article was from a guy named Tariq Haddad. And Tariq, it was written in German, but he actually translated it into English. And here's the link. And there's actually a lot more there if you want to take a look. So I'm like, fuck yeah, thank you. So this was actually about 2 weeks earlier, about 2 weeks ago. And Tariq, it was by Von Jens Glusing and Jörg Schindler. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But that says, this says, quote, at one point, a lawyer in London lost her laptop. At another, a journalist researching Assange's case had medical data stolen. The office of Assange's Spanish defense lawyers was broken into in a bizarre way. In Ecuador, a Swedish software developer, Ola Bini, had been held in country for nearly 4 years on flimsy grounds. Elsewhere, Assange supporters who preferred to remain anonymous reported similar spooky incidents. This is not a surprise to anyone who follows...
Spooky indeed.
Spoopy. This is not a surprise to anyone who closely follows the Julian Assange case. They routinely intimidate and mess with the supporters and the journalists and the people who are trying to accurately and honestly report on the persecution of what they're doing to this man. That they are connected cannot be proven, nor has it been possible to determine the authors beyond doubt in any case so far. It could be a matter of coincidences. He says, Aitor Martinez again quoted, it's a vendetta, focuses on not only on companions of family members, but also on lawyers and journalists who by law should be particularly protected from wiretapping. So they go back and they're telling a timeline of all the different times that they know that they had tapped him or illegally surveilled him. So at this point, he's living in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he fled in 2012 to avoid possible deportation. And guess who called him a high-tech terrorist? It's our creepy Uncle Joe. Yeah, Joe Biden. So that was in 2014. People who visit Assange at the embassy.
I did want to go back real quick to the leg of ham.
The leg of lamb. Yeah, leg of ham. Like, come on.
Yes. Do you know how much we're in Spain, correct?
Oh yeah, a leg of ham is real expensive. That's like $500 at least.
Yeah. Jamón Ibérico is like, I mean, on Amazon like $1,300 for one leg. So, and that's like, they definitely go more than that. You can get some pretty pricey jamon iberico.
Patricia, welcome. How are you over on the Rock Fins? Hi. Thanks for hanging out. So what this is also saying is that people who visit Assange at the embassy, according to this new lawsuit, fall unsuspectingly before camera traps. Copies of their passports, recordings of private encounters end up in the wrong hands. Among those affected are celebrities such as Yoko Ono, Pamela Anderson, Michael Moore. But, and I think we've heard this too, also journalists such as Snowden investigator Glenn Greenwald and employees of Spiegel, as well as quite a few lawyers. Freedom of the press, client confidentiality apparently no longer count everywhere in the Pompeo era. And it's really interesting that because he has never been in the United States to break, never been a United States citizen to break U.S. laws and hasn't been in the U.S. this entire time, that they are then, they should at least apply all the U.S. laws across the board, and he should be offered freedom of the press protection, but somehow he's not. But they did mention Olabini, probably one of the most monitored people in Ecuador, and this, I believe, was written right before he was released from prison after 4 years. But 3 or 4 security services are on his heels, he says. Yet even without the constant surveillance, he would have had little chance of escaping. Every Friday, he has to report to the public prosecutor's office and is not allowed to leave the country. So the situation is destroying him psychologically. So this is Olabini's trial.
Why is he not allowed to leave?
And he won the trial.
Yeah.
He won in January 2022. Finally present evidence. The fed-up judge asked the prosecution on the 4th day of the trial unsuccessfully. Finally, the trial was adjourned again and again until he was acquitted January 31st of this year, completely unexpectedly. A happy ending, however, still a long time coming since the public prosecutor's office immediately filed an appeal. So that's why he can't leave, because he's under appeal. So he continues to be barred from leaving the country. The day after the verdict, he says his surveillance even increased with people who'd been tailing him now openly carrying. So,
yep. Openly carrying?
Openly carrying in Ecuador. One of the things, and I asked Wyatt, so this is Olabini saying that he's being trailed by open carry agents of some kind. So I asked Wyatt, so like what's like the new part of this? And he's like, well, it's that we knew that they were actually like tracking these guys at the embassy. But what's new is that we did not know that out in the field, in the wild, he said, quote, yeah, I mean, we've known they took tons of info and recorded the conversations, but chasing them out into the wild is new. So that's why I said that there was some new information. And this is a good article written by Wyatt, and I appreciate him doing so. He's a good dude. At Wyatt Reed, 13, I believe, is his handle on, at WYATT Reed. Just like you can see down there, 13 is his handle. He's also got a Substack.
Like my name, but with a D.
Right. That's it, just like what Tara calls you all the time. Or types you. Typos. His Substack is called End of...
Well, normally hers is like her last name, you know?
Right? It's the same thing, yeah.
Not her last name, the other Reed.
Yeah, exactly. The End of Empire is Wyatt's Substack, so give him a sub. And we got a merch store. IndependentLeft.shop. That's where you can get all this stuff. Or there's a new link called INNmerch.com. INNmerch.com is going to have links to our merch store, as well as the Big Mad Crab merch store and the INN merch store, all from one central hub. And we're going to be able to link.
Take my money.
Yeah, I know. We're going to be able to link all the other merch stores for all the other members. Anyone who has them, we're going to be able to link to that hub as well. So that's the reason for INNmerch.com. You see, I added for Indies Tech Tips. There's a little notebook. We got the flip flops for How Do We Miss That with the Bong Father on it. We also got a tank top in there. We're gonna have to get rid of the knit cap because we're getting out of winter time now.